Hey traders, Nick Shaheen here, looking at another Momo stock that's gotten hammered on 1228, down 5%. This is Pinterest. Looking at the weekly, I'm starting with the weekly chart on purpose, just so I can show you how ridiculous of a ramp it is before we start talking Turkey, so to speak. First of all, looking at this whole thing, this is not it. This was Amazon discussion in the chat room. Okay, so what do they say? Buy the third touch if you have an expanding range. And then the breakout eyeball, I'm going to say, somewhere around here was the target. So from the weekly perspective, if somebody bought this third touch, 1, 2, 3, not surgically, but loosely interpreted, then or they bought the breakout from the prior highs. Either way, you would have gotten a nice reward. All right, so let's talk Turkey now, shorter term. So let's dip into the daily first of all and reset. Clearly, the bulls are in charge. Every dip is being bought. Ascending trend line is pretty nice. This is thanks to COVID. Believe it or not, bad things came from COVID to humans, but good things came to stocks like this one. Anything that has to do that's based in the cloud or empowered people to do stuff online, gift this pandemic, absolute gift. It supercharged the digital trend, migration, whatever you want to call it, into hyper mode. So this is one of the stocks that did well, and we'll look at it. You don't believe me? All right, let's go into total revenue. You can see 2017, $500 million, $750 million, 18, 1.2 billion, and 1.4 billion trailing 12 months. So clearly, a huge ramp, huge ramp. This doesn't mean it's cheap. By no means it is. Price to sales is 30, 31. Not outrageous like compared to some other numbers out there, but it's pretty stinking high. What does that mean? It's basically you're saying to a business, I'm going to buy your business, I'm going to pay you 31 years worth of your total yearly sales in order to take over your business. That's what I do if I'm buying the shares outright right here. But this is a growth stock, so you go with the flow until it starts being puked. All right, so down 5% on 1228. Is this a buying opportunity or not? So looking at it from the daily perspective before we jump into smaller time frames, maybe, because this was a place where they failed miserably. Well, if you can call that a failure. They reported earnings here, whatever they said is like, oh, we love it, boom. And then they came back, no, wait, maybe we don't. No, yeah, we do. And then came back to it and above it, and you can argue that they defended the zone since then. So maybe this is a better line to draw. 64. Maybe this one is. What is that? 62, 63 eyeball. So that's why I have the lines by the dip, so to speak. This one is a pretty good place to buy the 62.5-ish. This one would make it even better. I would be all in if it ever comes down to here. Or each one of these levels that meant something on the way up will mean something on the way down. So let's see if we can get smarter, if we can get more granular. This is that poke on that wacky earnings move, and now you can see the tails. So tails meaning the bulls said, no, we want to be higher. No, so they're defending. They're defending. And this cluster is pretty important. So I would say 65.5 is pretty important. 65.3. If you want to round, 64 is even more important. So I bet you anything there'll be buyers. If I'm long, I'll see what comes out of this consolidation period. I say it's consolidation because they're going zigzag, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The bulls said, let's go. No, let's go back and forth. So if you follow the trend, this blue-red is just a mere regression line. So it's whatever they call reverting to the mean. If you just follow the flow, that's where it's going. They're testing the lower ends of it. That doesn't mean it's not going to. That doesn't mean it's going to just shoot straight up to the red line again, to the blue line again. It just says it shows visual representation of how it's consolidating inside the trend to decide whether they can use it as a baseline for another leg up. It's asking a lot of these stocks to keep this pace up. Like here, they consolidated and then said, "Yeah, let's go." consolidated, let's go. Consolidated in a wider trend, let's go. They consolidating above the prior major fail. I call it a major fail. I mean, look at the huge rally. I remember that day. Was that 20-30% in one day? And then they quote failed from it. All they did is just test the neckline from which they broke out, and they said, yeah, we like it, and now they're above that. So not a bearish statement, even though it's off the highs, but the highs were ridiculous. So it's not a bearish statement. 10% drop, that doesn't mean it's a bearish stock. It just means that the bulls are booking profit along the way, which is what they should do. And by the way, this is not the only stock that fell. Palantir, another favorite of mine, same deal. You see it? It fell. All the momentum stock. I did a video on snowflakes. Go check it out. Same thing. I keep saying snowflakes. It's snowflake. Think quick. Think of another Momo. Anyway, a lot of Momo stocks were hit that same day with the same Zoom, same ferocity, 5-6% down on the same day. It's like money managers decided today is not the day we're going to buy momentum stocks. We're going to roll into something else. Amazon was up 4%. Apple was up 4% at one point. I don't know where they're closed. Google was seeing some loves. So they're certainly rotating back into the mega caps, which is something I said to the readers last week, that they could be rotating back into mega caps because they've been taking a rest. So let's see here. If I have a quick chart on FANG. So this is FANG as a collective. So Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, and Google. So Netflix today had an interesting day. It is a momentum stock. It was down. It showed a lot of weakness at one point. I was long. I sold. I'm short a put spread at 497.5 expiring this week. And I was debating whether I should close it or not, but then I looked at the chart and I saw some support here, and I didn't close it. And thank goodness I didn't, because it was going to cost me 30 cents to close it. I collected about 60 cents to open it. So I was winner already at 50% of maximum gains, but then I ended up buying it back for 8 cents at the end of the day because it got so cheap after the bounce, and it expires in 2 days, 3 days on a short week. And today is 12/8. I don't know if I said that. So this is a momentum stock. Maybe it's a leader for the other momentum stock. So I'm not saying, usually when I see a big drop in all momentum stocks, it tells me that markets are scared. And that because when they're scared, they don't buy froth. They hunker down. They buy gold, so to speak. By that I mean golden tickers like Apple and Facebook and Google. But in this case, they're still buying Netflix, and it's a momentum stock. It's not cheap, and it usually rallies with the high-flying stocks. So back to the original conversation, pins. This is not, if I haven't gotten out, I would want to see what happens against 66.5. That's the first line. And then there's a cluster into 65 and 64. So you can see how at any point in time there are buyers. I think they will step in. Now, of course, this needs the help of the entire market, and so far the buyers are in charge of that. So if I look at the Qs, for example, you can tell nice ascending trend, and every dip is being bought. And in fact, today it is an all-time high. And there's nothing against which the bears can shoot, I don't believe. Yep. So it's an open air. So it's hard. The only thing is odds are it's going to fall. That's the only argument to short. Going into a year end, very few people trading. Whatever is going on is easy to continue. So we'll see what happens. Of course, we have the politicians going into January 5th that are probably going to cause us a little scare, but they're idiots anyway. So don't pay attention. I can only trade the markets one line at a time. Nick signing out. If I haven't said it already, down below there's a link to the chat room. You can try it out free for 10 days. There is a transaction through PayPal that's for $0. It's just so I can protect the over 200 people that are in the chat room. This way I know that people are serious to joining the team. And 10 days free of charge, and then you can cancel anytime.